Antarctica. It is the 5th largest continent on our planet. It's also the coldest and the windiest. So what's the connection with Oxnard? Let's find out.
We are in the material recovery facility side of the transfer station where we process our mixed recyclables and curbside recyclables and commercial recyclables. Recently, and for the last at least 4 years since the city's operated the facility, we have annually received all of the solid waste and recyclable tonnage from the U.S. operations on the continent of Antarctica.
So Antarctica is governed by an international treaty. It's the ACA for short, Antarctic Conservation Act. All the countries that operate on the ice have to adhere to it if they want a station there. Basically, it was put in place because there were no regulations to enforce good custodianship over the environment in Antarctica. And it's one of the most pristine environments in the world, and obviously we all have an interest in keeping it that way. So the treaty was put in place in 1979 for that reason. It's basically a giant pack-in, pack-out situation. So anything that we ship down there, we have to ship out. The U.S. Antarctic program is run by the National Science Foundation, and all the stations down there, their sole purpose is science. So there are scientists and their science teams, their support staff, anybody from dishwashers to fuelies to people running heavy equipment, all in support of the scientists trying to get out to the field and do their work in the small window of favorable weather they have to do it. Some types of research that go on down there are glaciology, climate research is a big one, penguin research. We have a unique stream of waste because we have limited ability to be flexible in how we collect it down on the ice. So Del Norte is one of the few that we've found that are willing to put in the extra effort it takes to sort our waste.
MR is a designation meaning mixed recyclables. So that's what's going on behind us is some of our staff have to hand break open some bags. We wouldn't normally do that with regular material, but because none of this is CRV, which is California Redemption Value, we have to make sure that we separate it from that. There's very strict guidelines for claiming CRV. So we want to make sure it's processed correctly, and also the treaty is very strict, so we want to make sure that we're keeping everybody compliant, including best recycling and facility users back in Antarctica. Antarctica delivers approximately 250 to 350 tons per year, depending upon the operations for that season and the level of service they have down there. I believe Del Norte was chosen because of its close proximity to a port, and also in my conversations with Best Recycling, they think that we provide them with a high level of service and a good rate of return on their materials. I'm proud that we've been chosen and we're able to service the materials from Antarctica. It's an important international treaty, and we're doing our part.
You've heard the advice many times before, but the question remains, are you prepared for a major emergency? This group of residents sure are, and they proved it by enrolling with a Community Emergency Response Team, CERT for short.
Well, we're culminating 6 weeks of CERT training in a drill where our students get to actually apply the skills they've learned in a mock disaster. And we have a mock earthquake situation going on with a lot of different things happening. We have some people trapped in a building. We have a gentleman trapped underneath a car. We have some people that are having heart attacks. So they have a lot to deal with, and it's a lot more than they would normally deal with in real life, but we kind of throw that at them because it's a drill. And we'll watch for the things they do right and do wrong, and when we're done with the drill, we'll talk about it, do a little debrief, and help them learn from the things they did right as well as the things they did wrong. We've got a number of seasoned CERT veterans that are out here watching as well that are helping to supervise, so it's going pretty well. We have a very big class, so we'll actually be running the drill twice.
So today is our CERT graduation. It's been 6 weeks, and today is the actual 7th day is the big drill. 6 weeks of training for emergency response, and this one happens to be the Spanish class. And they went through training of fire, first aid, and basic search and rescue. And so today we are reviewing skills, and then we're going to go into a disaster drill so they can put all those things they learned together. Right now we're about 25 people that were part of the class. It's been a good class, very enthusiastic. They're very excited to learn, finish the class, and continue learning. So we're very happy with this class. Yeah, most people have no experience. They've never been exposed to any kind of even putting out a fire, small fire with a fire extinguisher. And what ends up happening by the time the class is over, people are signing up for the Red Cross to advance their knowledge of first aid, CPR, or just more education on how to be better prepared for a disaster.
In my line of work, we have to be ready for whatever comes our way. Being responsible for numerous staff and at-risk youth requires us to be on top of it. The CERT training helped my workforce, my family, and my community be more prepared for disasters and to create a more effective disaster plan.
After taking this class, I do feel that I am prepared for an emergency. A lot of the information presented in the class has given me the tools to not just prepare my own household, but to pass on this knowledge to family and friends, a wealth of knowledge that can be applied to day-to-day situations that will prepare me in case of a disaster.
Part of our community's biggest arts event of the year. This spring, on May 25th through the 27th, at the Oxnard Performing Arts and Convention Center, the Pack the Arts Festival will showcase Oxnard artists and arts organizations of all kinds. From musicians, dancers, and poets, to actors, visual artists, and filmmakers. There's something for everyone and every age. To participate, contact the Pack at 805-385-8147 or packinquiries@oxnard.org.
Every March 31st, we celebrate the birth and legacy of Cesar Estrada Chavez. Chavez was an activist in the civil rights and labor movement. He made people aware of the daily struggles of field laborers and brought recognition and dignity to all farm workers.
Well, first of all, we want to bring together the community and the students, the young folks, all of the civic leaders that are here with us today, farm workers, of course, and demonstrate the unity that we have to continue bringing about change and improvements for the lives of working families here in our communities and farm workers. Cesar worked here in the late 1950s. His family lived here. We passed by the house. He actually lived in this very community in the Colonia, and there's a lot of history here. Some of his children were born here, were raised here, and in addition to that, though, Oxnard is a vital agricultural community here in the state. And so it's important for the workers here in the vegetable industry, in the citrus industry, the berry industry, that they have the opportunity to improve their living conditions and their working conditions, because everybody knows how difficult it is to operate in this county. I mean, I'm sorry how expensive it is and everything else, and yet farm workers oftentimes find themselves harvesting the fruits and vegetables with not enough food to feed themselves and their families. So it's important for us to be here.
It's the march that commemorates his life, but not just, we know what he's done and everything like that, but the personal factor here in Oxnard is what's big to me. When my son, who I brought to the march, is still receiving, his great-grandfather still alive and still receiving a pension from the union, that's big. That makes it personal to me. It makes it personal to my son, whose grandfather was active with CESAD and made sure that the wages were correct, as good as they could be here in Oxnard with the Oxnard farm workers.
My name is Carl Lawson. I've worked for the city for a couple of decades now. I first arrived in Oxnard in 1978 at the height of the citrus pickers strike to work as a volunteer with the United Farm Workers. Cesar Chavez and the farm workers taught me that people without formal education often actually are quite educated. It takes a lot of skill to know just how to cut that celery at the right angle so that the stem doesn't rot the stalk before it gets to New York. You have to know just how to pick that berry, plant that broccoli. I've tried to carry that spirit to remember the value of all labor and every worker throughout my life, and it's been an honor and a privilege. Oxnard has played a critical part in the history of the Farm Workers Union and in the progress of the sons and daughters of those farm workers who, because of the economic stability that the union brought to their lives, were able to go to community college or university and move into the middle class, things that just were not attainable for their parents 40 or 50 years ago.
First celebrated in 1970, Earth Day has become a worldwide event. It's a day of fun, music, and a reminder of how important it is to care for our beautiful planet.
This has been an awesome festival. It's actually our 27th Earth Day, and I have been doing it for 18 years, and every year I feel like it's something new and it seems to get better and better. So I think when we first started this, way back when, people didn't really understand about recycling and about conservation the way they do now. With YouTube and with people becoming more and more aware, with the internet becoming more and more aware of our environmental issues, it actually makes it a little bit easier.
Oh, this is amazing. You know, I've been very impressed since I came here about how involved the community is and how much they care about everything, Oxnard, and it's nice to see how much they care about the planet, too. Oh, this gives the community all the big and little ways that they can do something to make a big change. You know, we think of one person, whether I recycle this water bottle or not, what's the deal? Well, when millions of people make that choice, it makes an incredible difference. You know, all of the different community groups are so great and so involved, and our employees really care about the community, and I'm watching them having these incredibly friendly interactions, which is great. So I'm very excited.
Oh, es increíble que mucha gente no sabe la importancia de que nosotros tenemos que informarnos acerca de cómo proteger nuestro planeta. Por eso es la importancia de tener este festival. Y podemos agarrar mucha información. La importancia de este festival es más que nada para informarnos.
We've had a great festival. We've had Earthcapades, which was environmental vaudeville. They were up on stilts and teaching kids how to recycle and doing juggling. Then they did a performance. It's just, and the day, look at this day. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better day. You know, every single year, it almost brings me to tears because it just makes me so happy to see these people out here participating in Earth Day and showing that they care about our planet. And I think that that's what it is. We need to protect this planet. We need it to protect it for our children. We need to protect our wildlife that can't speak for themselves. We need to protect our oceans and get the pollution out of our oceans. And we need to protect ourselves, even, you know, with just not drinking out of plastic bottles whenever we can. So that's my message.
You love the show. Now like us on Facebook and Twitter at City of Oxnard and watch the archive shows and other extras on our YouTube and Vimeo channel. We'll see you next time.